Okay, looking at number 3, in a certain town, there are 2 houses for every 5 apartment units. 2 houses, 5 apartments. Okay, now we'll use this information to complete this activity. Now we're going to do a little bit more than what this activity calls for, so be ready. Um, Now, in this case, the number of houses, we will use that as our input, and the number of apartment units we'll use as our output. Okay, no worries there. And so if we were going to divide the y by the x, in this case, that would be 5 divided by 2. And if we wanted to go even further than that, that would be 2.5, 2.5. That would be our constant of proportionality, our C, little o, big P. Okay, constant of proportionality, 5 halves or 2.5, depending on how you want to set that up. Now, but here's the thing with this table, if we wanted to find, see, we've got missing information here, we've got missing information here, and we've got missing information here. So let's use the information in this first row to determine the information for the rest of the table. So let's look, first of all, let's set up our a proportion. Okay, so we're going to start by comparing the number of apartment units to the number of houses. And in our first row, the number of apartment units that we have is 5, and the number of houses we have is 2. Okay, but in the next row, we have the number of apartment units as 10. So how many houses would that be? Well, yeah, then at this point, you have to ask yourself, how do I get from 5 to 10? Well, that would be times 2. And so if I do that in the numerator, I have to do the same thing in the denominator. And 2 times 2 is 4. So that means I would have 4 houses if I had 10 apartment units. Okay, now this next one, there are 15 apartment units. So again, we can set it that same proportion. Start with this ratio of 5 to 2. But in this case, apartment units, we have 15. Remember, you have to keep those in the right place. The numerator in this case is the apartment units. So how many houses would that be? Well, again, how do I get from 5 to 15? Well, 5 times 3 is 15. And I would have to do the same thing in the denominator. So 2 times 3 would be 6. So there would be 6 houses if there were 15 apartment units. Okay. And then the last one, we're looking for the number of houses. We have 8 houses. How many apartments would that be? Well, we can set up that proportion again. Our ratio of 5 to 2, only this time they gave us the number of houses to be 8. So how do I get from 2 to 8? Well, I have to multiply by 4, don't I? 2 times 4 is 8. I do the same thing in the numerator here, and 5 times 4 would be 20. So I would have 20 apartment units if I had 8 houses. Now, with that being taken care of, the ratio of houses to apartment units, well, in every one of these, houses to apartment units, this would be 4 to 10, 6 to 15, 8 to 20. All right, just writing those ratios down. And that's all you really have to do there is, and the great thing is you can use proportions to help you find all of that information. Okay? Now, let's move on to the next question. And moving down. Now we get to graph the data from our table. Now my graph is a little bit big, so I'm going to have to change my view here just a bit. Here we go. Now I can graph that data fairly easily. And let's see, make sure I have the right size dot. That'll work. Okay, so when I had 5 houses, oh, wait a minute. When I had 2 houses, that's what it was. When I had 2 houses, how many apartment units did I have? I had 5. Oh, that's not a big enough dot. Need a larger dot than that. There we go. Okay. Where's my mouse? Hello, mousy. There we are. There we go. 2 houses, 5 apartment units. All right. Then 4 houses, I had 10 apartment units. For 6 houses, I had 15. So I put my dot there. Very nice. Very nice. 8 houses, I had 20 apartment units, and so on. All right. So we were able to graph this data with a scatter plot. Now we can put, let's put a line through that. That'll be nice. Make a nice line to connect all these dots. Now they don't have to be connected because obviously you're not going to have 2.5 houses. So we wouldn't have a continuous line. It would have to be a dotted line. But that's why I'm making it a different color. And there it is. Okay, we've graphed it. Now we can use this graph to predict for letter C. Use your graph to predict the number of apartment units if there were 10 houses in the town. Well, look at that. If we do that, we can say, well, all right, 10 houses. Go up here, follow the line to 10, and where does that cross the y-axis? That's, well, or where does that meet? It's right there. And I would go from here over to this and go, oh, look, from there, if I had 10 houses, I would have 25 apartment buildings. Very nice. Very nice. 25 apartment buildings if I had 10 houses. Okay. Any questions about this before we move on? No? All right. Well, give me just a second here then.